they'll come back here to study.
Well,
Study is the main portion of it. And, of course, doing business with having a United States citizenship. And, by the way, folks, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. United States government does not say, no, we cannot issue you a visa just because you're pregnant. You remember there was a whole lot of Hispanic people coming from the border, and many of them were pregnant women, and they're still here.
That's my point about the immigration side of this, because for anyone that decides to stay and not go back, I mean, okay, fine, you come here, you have your baby, you're issued U.S. citizenship, and then maybe the government doesn't object because you go back home. But at the end of the day, there might be some portion of those people that don't go back home, and then they become part of that immigration debate. You know, one other thing, Ramesh, I just wanted to mention, we often talk about the immigration debate, and the first segment of the population we focus on are the Hispanics. And the reality is, some of the rules that we obviously think of as border rules, border protection rules, they apply to us as well. We, at the end of the day, Indians, Chinese, even Europeans that come here, all are impacted by these immigration laws. So it's not as if we should just look at them as a Hispanic problem. It's not. It's our problem too. And I think, you know, this type of industry, if it's allowed to boom, causes problems down the road with respect to immigration that we wouldn't necessarily pay attention to.
But, you know, if they did stop that, it will seem so cruel. You know, I mean, just because you're pregnant, that means you cannot travel?
No, but I think the U.S. has a legitimate right to evaluate each case and wonder, okay, you know, down the road, if this couple decides not to go back, what is the liability on the U.S. side of the house?
Some women don't show till the 7th month.
It's
what they are doing
point.
is you come in 2 months before the birth, and you stay here till 1 month after the birth, and all they're charging is about $2,000 roughly, and they will get you the bed, and you stay there, and you give birth, and that's an ultimate luxury. In this particular story, I just want to say, everybody does it. This one just sheds light on China, because there are certain agents here that handle them, because, you know, many of them don't speak English and all of that. So these guys help them.
Well, you're right, Ramesh. I think the reason why the article chose the Chinese to focus on for this is because, remember, China has the one-child policy. And so for them to be able to have a child here in the United States and call it a U.S. citizen maybe gives them a little bit of a workaround to that policy back home.
That's true, too. And, of course, that is one of the motivation.
Well, to talk about this sort of in reverse, you know, money can flow this way or it can flow that way. One of the stories I found in the Economic Times is about how NRI remittances, this is basically people that live here and send money back home, whether it's to their parents or to their local village. There's a lot of money that actually goes back to India every year from the people that are living abroad. And that money actually has led to a boom, an economic boom, particularly in villages in India. We often think of money going back to the urban areas, but in these cases, it's going back to the villages where it really can go much further. So there are new roads that are being built, and there are new civic projects that result. But people are also getting personally wealthy. Now even your villager will aspire to have a BMW or a granite bathroom. I mean, it's kind of an amazing thing. In fact, India has the richest village as a result of these remittances, which total over 5,000 crore, which is a significant amount of money. And in the village, you can catch cars like the Jaguar, the BMW 7 Series, and in the brand of cosmetics that, you know, young villagers are using. It's pretty incredible. But the part of the story that really caught me was, you know, people love the remittances in India. Why? Because it's a way to, you know, get past the taxes. You don't necessarily have to pay taxes on that money that comes. So all of a sudden you have a lot more disposable income, which you have to dispose of in the form of these types of purchases, because that's one way to hide it from the government. So whether you call it a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not quite sure, but at least you do have money flowing back to these villages, and some of it is you know, resulting in some good things.
It's the same thing when it goes to Latin America. A lot of money goes to Latin America, too.
This is a positive spin, I think, for, you know, money not always just coming this way. It often goes back the other way.
Folks, in the next 60 days, the Commonwealth Games will be in New Delhi, India. Are they ready for it? Of course, the airport is ready, and the planes are ready to bring you in. But the infrastructure and the games where the venue is going to be held, the games venues are not ready yet. They are still under construction. That is the reason some of the top sponsors are kind of afraid to get in at this point, simply because they may not get ready. Now, the sponsors come in at least a year in advance. There was a successful Olympics in Beijing. There was a successful World Soccer in South Africa. So India, this is its time to shine. And everybody's so afraid that, in fact, they're trying to get advertising from the state-owned companies.
Wow. At the local level.
There are few, of course, big sponsors like Coca-Cola and Adidas and others, but majority of them have sort of stayed away, just as some of the Olympic stars have stayed away. Bolt from Jamaica, the fastest human being, he doesn't want to come there. And there are bicyclists who are very, very good from England. They're not coming in either. So I don't know what it's going to do, but government insists they will be ready. Monsoon certainly did not help, but they will be ready, and that's the line that's coming out.
I sure hope so, because South Africa also has similar problems to India.
Everybody has.
Infrastructure is an issue there. But what you heard there was that the entire country and many nations around South Africa mobilized. In fact, if anything, it was the emergence of an entire continent on the world stage, and it went without a hitch, more or less. It was beautifully done, and people embraced South Africa. I think people will be inclined to travel there from a tourism perspective because of the World Cup and how much attention it got. If India misses the boat on this, I think the damage will be long-lasting, because the tourism dollars that should have come in from an event like this won't come in, the sponsorships won't come in, and worse yet, India's reputation to be able to deliver on the mass scale on a world stage
on time and on budget. That is the